our hair is always growing. We just need to learn how to retain that growth. What's up guys? In today's video we are talking protective styles and how we can use them to grow our hair. Protective styles can really help you grow long and healthy hair, but the key is to do the right protective styles. The problem is not getting our hair to grow. Actually, our hair is always growing. Rather, the problem is keeping our growth and preventing our hair from growing. So now that we know what our problem is, it's super easy to figure out what the solution needs to be. Figuring out how to minimize our breakage and keeping the hair that's growing and the hair that we already have. So how do we do this? So firstly, it's about choosing the right hairstyles for your hair growth journey. There are so many hairstyles out there, but not all are made equal in terms of what is going to help you and aid you in your hair growth. So firstly, we need to choose the right protective hairstyles. Secondly, we need to make sure that we're installing the hairstyles correctly. And lastly, we need to make sure that when we take down our hairstyles, we are being gentle and patient with that process. So in this video, I'm breaking down the right protective hairstyles. I'm also going to speak a little about what to look out for when you're installing your hair. And finally, I'm also going to be talking about the takedown process and some of the things that you need to watch out for so that we can keep all the hair that is grown in that period that you've had that hairstyle in. Let's start with protective styles and choosing the right protective styles. I've broken down the protective styles into 3 different options, and even within those 3 options there are a number of different hairstyles that you can choose because we want to be versatile. We don't always want to be stuck with the same hairstyle. I know that a lot of people get bored having the same hairstyle. It feels very repetitive, and as seasons change you want something different, and so I'm going to give you the different options that you can choose from that will help you on this hair growth journey and not make it boring. So our first category of protective styles are protective styles that you do with your own hair. This category of protective styles is the most ideal for your hair growth journey in my opinion, because you're using your own hair, you're not adding hair, there's nothing that's weighing you down, there's no tension on your head, and so it is the most gentle in terms of the 3 options that I'm going to give you, and it's also the easiest. You get to do it yourself, and so you get to control how tight or loose your hairstyles are. So when talking about protective styles with your own hair, I'm referring to twists or braids, and more specifically twists, like 2-strand twists, which is what I have in my hair right now. 3-strand twists, flat twists, braids, those are the hairstyles I'm referring to. Cornrows even. So those are the hairstyles that I'm referring to when I refer to styles with your own hair. And so this is probably ranks probably number 1 in terms of the best protective styles for your hair growth journey. And the reason being is that twists and braids and those types of hairstyles, flat twists, are probably the most ideal hairstyles for your hair growth journey, because it prevents your head being weighed down by added hair. It prevents any tension if you install it correctly, so you don't have to worry about things like traction alopecia and damaging your edges. And so I wanted to start off with this category because I think it is probably the best. It's also the best way to make sure that your hair stays moisturized. So it is really good for moisture retention because you have access to your hair, so you're able to moisturize your hair more often, and you're able to wash your hair more often, which then talks about scalp health and making sure that the hair that is growing out of your scalp is healthy and strong and thick hair. It can help you retain the hair that is growing within that period that you have that hairstyle, and even better if you can do that hairstyle yourself. I know a lot of people don't know how to braid their own hair, but look into styles that are easy for you to learn how to do. So 2-strand twists are super easy for anyone who doesn't know how to braid their hair down. Flat twists are also quite easy, and there are so many videos up here on YouTube that show you how to do that. And so maybe learn 1 or 2 styles that you can really master and then use those as your hairstyle of choice. The second category of protective styles that I'm going to speak about are protective styles with added hair. think box braids, crochet braids, knotless braids, Senegalese twists, faux locks. Those are the hairstyles that I'm referring to when I talk about hairstyles with added hairpiece. And now with these types of hairstyles, you do have to be a little more cautious than your first, because this is where we get into the territory of the hairstyle possibly weighing you down or possibly affecting your edges. And so choosing the right hairstyles for you is really, really important. So you have to consider how fine or thick your hair is and how much your hair can take on in terms of added hair. And so I think you need to really think about the types of hairstyles with added hairpiece. I would personally rank box braids, crochet braids, and a little bit on the knotless braids, but those are the three that I would rank as probably the safer hairstyles to consider when thinking about braids and thinking about hairstyles with added hairpiece. Just because with box braids, for instance, you are taking thicker pieces of hair when plaiting and braiding down your hair, and so there isn't as much tension on your strands because you're taking on bigger pieces, and so you're able to distribute the weight a lot more evenly. The hair pieces that you're using on box braids are also less drying than a hair piece like the faux locks, for instance, because faux locks braids, although really nice, can be quite drying. That hair piece is quite dry and rough, and it's a coarser texture that would rub and cause friction against your own hair. Crochet braids are also super great because again, you're braiding down your hair, so you cornrow your hair and then you take a crochet needle and kind of distribute the hair piece along your hair, and so you're able to distribute the weight of the hair piece across your whole entire head versus just on like fewer pieces on your head. And so that also helps in terms of preventing too much tension on your head and preventing the possibility of traction alopecia. Knotless braids can also be a great option if you are looking for something that is not too heavy. Also, the hairpiece again isn't as drying as for instance faux locks, and the braiding method of knotless braids right at the root of your hair does help also prevent a lot of the manipulation that would cause by, let's say, a box braid or normal knotted braid. And so knotless braids can actually be a good option. I think also it depends on the how tight those knotless braids are, but they would help with your edges in terms of not pulling too tightly, because you're using your own hair initially to braid and then you're adding on hair pieces, and so it is a lot less tension on your head and a lot less manipulation. So knotless braids could also be a great option for hair growth. Faux locks tend to be quite heavy. If you've ever had faux locks, you'll know that you know, having a full head of faux locks can really feel quite heavy on your head unless it's done through the crochet braid method. If you're doing it individually, it can really cause quite a lot of tension on your head and especially on your edges. And so I personally wouldn't advise that would be one of your hairstyle options to try to grow your hair. Some people, I'm sure, are able to do it, but I think if your hair is quite sensitive to being weighed down, it wouldn't be an ideal hairstyle for you. Again, same thing with Senegalese twists. Senegalese twists are very thin, and because they're so thin, I think both installation and takedown can be quite tricky. Installing can be quite tight, and because you're taking smaller parts, it can really cause damage to your hair. And then when you're taking it down, because they're so thin, again, it would be very hard for you to be gentle and really removing the twist off in a way that doesn't break your own hair. So Senegalese twists are probably like right at the bottom for me if you're trying to grow your hair, but it's still an option and people have been able to do it. I'm not saying rule out these hairstyles. I'm just giving you what the pros and cons are for all these hairstyles, and then, you know, really it's up to you to decide which hairstyle you like, which one makes you feel good, but also can help you maintain healthy and long hair in the process. Our last category for the right protective hairstyles for your hair growth journey is going to be wigs and weaves. And this one, like the second option, is a great option, but with some caveats to it. So, you know, you have to tread a little carefully when it comes to the wigs and the weave hairstyles, but they can really do a great job of growing your hair too. So to start off with wigs, I think wigs there are so many examples on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube of ladies who have grown their hair all the way down their back with wigs, because you basically leave your hair alone for, you know, an extended period of time, and it's really easy for you to just grow out your hair. I think some of the issues around wigs is when you glue it down with frontals and leave it on for a long period of time. Some women have experienced traction alopecia, their edges have been damaged because of it, and so you have to be wary in terms of wigs and really tread carefully. I think glueless wigs are a great option, especially if you remove them daily, because you still have access to your hair and your scalp. Also, just be careful with the combs inside wigs. If you're tucking the combs into your hair every single day, it can cause some damage onto your own hair, and so, you know, think about removing the combs if you want to use a glueless wig. So you just have to kind of, you know, maneuver your way when it comes to wigs. They can be a great option because, you know, you don't have to worry about your cornrows looking neat. You just put it on and walk out the door. But I think the problems arise when it comes to how long you're leaving it in for and how you're looking after your hair underneath. The last hairstyle on our list are sew-in weaves. Again, so many people have been able to grow their hair all the way down their back, waist length, with sew-in weaves. But it is all about what kind of routine you have with the sew-in weaves. Firstly, I think choosing hair pieces that are that resemble your own hair texture is key to ensuring that you maintain the health of your own hair, especially if you have leave out. So if you sew down a weave and then you have leave out in the front or the side, if the hair bundles that you buy are close to your hair texture or exactly match, then it's so much easier to maintain your leave out, and so your leave out also grows with the rest of your hair. So that's one thing that I think you need to consider if you want to use sew-ins as your hair growth method. And then secondly, having a wash routine while your sew-in is on. I'm going to link a video that I saw a couple of years ago of a lady who grew her hair to waist length, and she was able to do this because she had such a good consistent routine on how she washed her hair and maintained her hair underneath her sew-in. And so I think that really helps, like making sure that you are regularly washing it and drying it and moisturizing it really helps their hair underneath grow. And so sew-ins can be a great option for your hair growth process and your hair growth journey. Those are the two caveats I have. Make sure you buy the texture that matches yours or closely resembles yours, and then create a wash day routine that is super consistent and really focuses on the health of your hair underneath the weave. Alright, now that I've given you all the protective style options, I think it's important to discuss two things that are really key to maintaining the growth that you're going to grow. So the protective styles are going to grow our hair, but making sure that the growth that we get stays on our head is just as important as actually getting the growth. So first things first is installation. Whether you're doing that professionally or you're doing it on your own, how you install your hair is probably just as important as in choosing the right protective style. From the way you blow dry your hair to how tight your hairstyle is installed, it's so important to be gentle, guys, with your hair. You know, that whole thing of like your hair being sore and painful for 3 days after you've done it just should not be. Like, your hairstyle should not be so painful 3 days after doing your hair, because that just means there's a lot of tension on your head and your scalp, and that can't be good. That's when your edges are gone. That's when we're getting bald spots. That's when we're just getting issues with like scalp and the health of our scalp. And so guys, please, no hairstyle is worth keeping on if it is that painful. If a professional has installed my hair too tightly, I take my hairstyle out immediately. I don't play around. I did try a sew-in maybe 3 weeks ago, and oh my gosh, the back of my head, just everything was so tight, and I was like, you know what, it's basically a sunken cost for me at this point, because I don't think the long-term effect of what it's going to do to my hair was worth that hairstyle, you know. And so I took it out, and going forward, I'm going to probably try do my own sew-ins now, because at this point I just have trust issues with professionals. But if you have a great professional hairstylist, please have a conversation with them, let them know what your concerns are, your needs are, and just make sure that they're not installing your hairstyles too tightly, because then there's no point in you even trying to grow your hair, because you're going to come across a lot of issues with tightly installed hairstyles. And lastly, and equally as important as the right protective styles and how you install it, is taking down your hair. Guys, you need to take time out. If you've got a hairstyle that you've had in for a month, 2 months, 3 months even, then you need to take a lot of time out to just be gentle and patient with the way you take down your hairstyle. I think a lot of times what happens is when we take down our hairstyles, we get to a point where we're so tired and it's so knotted that we just start combing our hair out and become really rough, and then it's like, what was the point of keeping the hairstyle in for that long? You have to really have patience with it and detangle. What I would recommend is that you moisturize your hair 2 days before. So you do the lock method, the liquid oil and cream, or the liquid cream and oil, and you do that routine maybe 2 days or the night before. And then when it's time to take down your hair is already soft and a little more manageable, and so it's a lot easier to start detangling. And then while you're detangling, each piece that you're detangling, you use a detangling lotion or leave-in conditioner, and you just take your time, being gentle, to really part the matted or the pieces that have a lot of buildup. You really take your time to detangle those pieces, and then finally you use a white tooth comb on that piece slowly, and just slowly comb from the top down to the roots, slowly, and then you just work your way around your whole head doing that very thing. It will take you 2, 3, maybe even 4 hours depending on how thick your hair is, but it'll be worth it if you're trying to keep your hair long and healthy. So you really want to just, that you have a Saturday or a Sunday just booked out, and then you got a couple of movies on, and you're just going to take your time doing that. I think I will do a video when I take down these mini twists. I'll do a video of how I'm taking it down and how gentle I try to be, just so that I can give you more of a visual of how I do it, so that it can help you if you're looking to really see a more visual representation of what I'm talking about. But I can't stress this enough. Installation and takedown are probably just as important as the kind of protective style that you're choosing. And so please take care of your hair. It is beautiful, it's natural, it just needs a lot of tender love and care. And I'm wishing you a great hair growth journey, and I'm so excited to really go on this journey with you guys and share the tips and tricks I'm learning along the way to just really get the healthiest version of my hair possible. Alright guys, I hope this really helped you in deciding what kind of hairstyles you're going to be choosing on your hair growth journey, and I hope I was able to share something that maybe you weren't completely aware of, or you were able to take away from this video. And as always, I really appreciate you guys watching this video, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye.